it might not like the share chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot the stream because like my streamer connected it, and I started sharing chat again, and immediately streamer connected.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oops.
Well, that sucks then.
Yeah. Right. I believe that was my line to go because I feel like you finished it.
Yes.
So they looked at they saw the tracks. It sounds what it sounds like, and they're like looking at confused, like what the fuck's that?
Yeah. Pretty much.
What the hell are those?
Roger's puzzled self asked us. They both ran over to the footprints and studied them enthusiastically.
Never seen anything like this before. They're crazy. Yeah, we are confused too. We just think it was some stupid hoax or something.
My dad responded.
Not what I think.
I told myself.
Well, let's snap some pictures of those. See you guys tomorrow.
Arnold said, and with that, they were gone. My dad went back to getting the fire going, and I went back to unsuccessfully fishing. After eating dinner and then coating ourselves with a good layer of bug spray, they were awful at night. We decided to sit on the beach and watch the sunset. The sun setting behind the mountains was an amazing sight. A vivid color in the sky was astounding. The blending of the orange red from the sun created a beautiful purple lining just above the setting sun. I didn't get to see a purple in the sky except when I was in the mountains when the sun finally set. We were all able to see all we were able to see were the twinkling lights in the sky.
How about a nighttime canoe ride?
My dad asked me. I gave him a quick nod of eagerness. We went in, dragged the canoe in the water, and hopped in. We began paddling out into the water. It was calm as could be, a perfect night for canoeing on the water. Oh, that sounds nice.
You know, Dave, you're almost 16. We have to start looking for a car for you, bud.
He said to me. I was surprised that he brought this up.
Dad, I know that things are tight. They always have been. You don't have to shell out money for a car. I can manage.
I said.
Just knowing that you've been considering it makes me happy. Yeah, right, buddy. My dad brought me a car. I'm going to do the same for you. I've been saving up. We'll be able to get you something decent that runs.
I started to glow as a grin appeared on my face.
Are you serious, Dad? I don't want you to be. I want you to overextend yourself. We're more than
Oh,
managed. Don't worry about it. Besides, you'll be getting a job when you turn 16. You're going to need something to get you to and from home.
I honestly didn't think he'd be getting me a car. I was so excited. The cars I'd always wanted to start racing through my head. But then my thoughts were interrupted with what would start the horror of our trip. There was all of a sudden a flash of light, like a camera flash, except it covered the whole sky. It was completely blinding. My eyes burned and started to tear up. I closed my eyes and shielded my face with my hands. The flash lingered in the sky for about a minute and then finally dissipated.
Dad, what's going on?
I was completely shocked and terrified.
I have no idea.
My dad said. His voice was monotone. He was more shocked than I was, just staring at the sky, trying to figure out what it was. I could see him thinking, trying to make sense of what just happened. I couldn't think of a single thing that could have done that.
Let's get
What
back to.
would cause the whole sky?
Oh, sorry.
What?
I was gonna say, like, I would be like paddling so quick to shore.
Yeah, I don't know. If I saw the whole sky flashing, yeah, I'd be scared because I thought I saw that happening with the bad weather around here, and I told my I instantly told my mom, I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Yeah, calm under pressure. Don't know her.
See, like that. See the thing. I would think it's lightning, and I'm like, wait, I'm on a flat area. I'm the tallest point on this flat area. I'm getting out off this lake.
Oh yeah, they are kind of just like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they're on a lake, just camping. Like, technically, they're a high point at the moment.
I would never go camping again. But that's just me. It seemed like he couldn't think of anything either.
Let's get back to shore.
He said. There was a panic in his voice. We started hurriedly paddling back. As soon as we got on land, we dragged the canoe onto the beach. As we set it down in place, there was another flash in the sky. I again closed my eyes and shielded my face.
Dad!
I frantically shouted. Now I was completely horrified. My heart was racing. I wanted to be gone.
Let's get in the tent.
My dad said. He seemed just as panicked as I was.
No, Dad, I want to leave. Please, can we go?
I hysterically asked.
We can't leave here in the dark. It's not a straight shot back to the car. We'll be hiking all night and probably get lost. Too many divides in the trail.
He replied. I was glad he was thinking critically.
Let's get in the tent.
He unzipped the tent and let me in, then followed in behind me. He zipped it up and we just sat there, puzzled by what we just had happened. We got in our sleeping bags. I put mine all the way up to my chin, trying to disappear from the situation. A third flash then happened. Oh my god, it keeps happening! I put my head all the way under the sleeping bag. I was breathing heavily and starting to sweat.
Just relax, bud. Close your eyes and try to fall asleep.
My dad said, trying to comfort me. There was no falling asleep right now. That was for sure. Things remained quiet after the third flash. We sat there for a few minutes, not moving an inch. The only thing we could hear was my panicky deep breathing. Then all of a sudden, we could hear something outside. It seemed like steps, like someone was walking away slowly toward our tent. It sounded like there were two people walking, except when they walked, it sounded like they were pounding their feet on the ground. I hate everything about this.
Right? I mean, like, part of me would be like, okay, this is like the two people that they saw earlier, but what are the chances?
Yeah, the odds are not looking good for that.
Stay there. Don't move a muscle.
My dad commanded me. He slowly got up and pulled down a flap that allowed him to look outside. He stared for a moment. Then I saw a look on his face that I only hoped to see once in my life. His eyes got wide, as they could, and his jaw dropped. He was locked in a gaze that he seemed to not be able to escape from. Pure horror was displaying on his face. He just sat there, staring.
Dad.
I asked.
Dad, what is it?
He jolted his head a little bit and came back to reality.
Quiet.
He ordered. He was talking in a whisper now.
Don't move at all.
He closed the flap, and as slowly as he could, scooted back to where I was. The footsteps were getting closer. My heart was still pounding. All my hair stood up on my body. Sweat continued to drip off me. I was frozen. All I could do was listen to the steps, the hammering steps coming to our tent. They stopped in front of us. The tent then began to slowly unzip. Oh, God! My dad grabbed me in his arms, protecting his only child. The tent went fully unzipped, but I was able to see what was staring at us. I will never forget that image that was burned in my head that night. It was not human. The thing's eyes were, oh my god, they were maize yellow and massive. From what I could see of its face, it was scaly and as green as the forest trees. Its breathing was wheezy, as if it had a permanent amount of phlegm in its lungs. Tears began to form in my eyes, and I could feel myself start to urinate. Oh, poor thing.
Please.
My dad said to it.
He's still a boy, my only boy. Don't do anything.
He continued to plead. It just continued to stare. Then it turned away, and we were able to hear it, and the second one walk away. I would die if something just unzipped my tent.
You're telling me these things unzipped the tent, stared at it, and went, okay, valid, and walked away.
I just wanted to see who's swimming in the water.
Yo, you guys got a permit?
It's like, if I noticed you were fishing, can I see that license? Yeah, I'd probably do more than piss in my pants. I'd probably shit myself. Then there was another flash of light. We sat in silence after that, not able to sleep at all. We were petrified and had no idea what to do. All we were able to do was wait. Eventually the sun came up. As soon as that happened, we packed everything up and took off.
We have to talk to Roger and Arnold, see if they saw anything.
My dad said to me.
No, Dad, no. Can we just. Please? We have to go.
I begged him. He had nothing of it, and we walked to their campsite. It wasn't far at all. When we got there, all their stuff was around. They had pots and pans out along with some fishing poles and a couple of canteens of water. However, they were nowhere to be seen.
They're probably hiking, Dad. Let's go, please. Why would the heck about their canteens?
Dad questioned himself. It made me even more terrified. We hiked back to our car and took off. I had asked my dad if we should report it, but he said no one would believe us. We agreed to never go back there again. A week or so after we got home, Dad and I were watching the news. The first news report was of 2 missing hikers. We became petrified when we saw the pictures of the names below it. It was of George and Arnold. The police or park rangers never questioned us. Later in the broadcast, there was a story about strange objects being seen flying in the Rocky Mountains area. We never spoke of the incident at all again.
Oh, so that was an alien story. I thought it was gonna be a monster at the lake.
Yeah, that. Okay, aliens. Aliens in disguise? What the. Okay, that.
Okay.
Okay,
'Cause
okay.
They
Yeah,
totally sound like
okay.
the footprints were coming from the lake and did like a circle around the camp.
Right. Well, okay. Hey, just letting you know, the volume on the stream is very low. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I think it should be better now.
Soccer says, I like to imagine it was just two teenagers wearing those realistic dino costumes.
Imagine. I go to a party store, so where you guys' slime at? Or what?
I thought with how things were in twos, it was definitely going to be like those two were aliens, like because you had the father and son, the two other campers, two aliens. They were going to do 2-2-2.
Yeah. Interesting.
Shall we move on to our next story?
Yes.
How about the Phantom Hiker of Grandfather Mountain?
Absolutely. Oh, wait, let me grab the. Where's that one at? I thought I had the link up for it.
Oh, hold on. It is the first link. It's right behind. It's right above the Rocky Mountains incident.
Oh, got you.
Mhm.
I'm still very like. I can't believe that turned out to be like an alien story.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I think that's the thing about when it comes to like creepypastas that most of them try to do that like twist at the end of some kind.
Right.
Like they try to do like it's an alien or it's a monster. That's why like one of my favorite is the meme creepypastas like Who Was Phone, because it just satires like the whole like creepypasta thing of like the twist at the end, like, oh, I got a call from your father, but my father's dead. Then who was the person who called?
I like those. Those ones are pretty cool.
Uh,
I can appreciate a twist story.
I'm a sucker for the instruction stories that have been going around.
Me too.
Like hey, you're camping over my house today. Hey, if you want to survive, you have to follow these rules. Like, hey, at 1:11 a.m., you have to, if you go to the bathroom, don't look up at the ceiling. They are watching. Or like, hey, at 2:00 a.m., there'll be a knocking at the door. Ignore it. There's whoever's there is not human and stuff like that.
Right? Like I think the funny thing is people are always like, well, why are there so many rules? Well, there wouldn't be rules if there was never an incident. So they're there for a reason, quote unquote.
My
So they're
favorite,
real. It's all
my
real.
my favorite is the be like, you and your buddy have, been hired to like do this for, for the next like 8 hours overnight at this abandoned mall. And I love the creators that would like act it out with their buddy. It's like, you and your buddy will be exploring different parts of the mall, um, checking things like, don't go into the shops. The shadows will get you. Like things like that. Oh god, I'm just a sucker for all.
You know what? I feel like us being game streamers,
Hmm.
if you will, I feel like they should make more games like that with like actual consequences though, because like I feel like you'll do one thing and the game just misses it, but like I feel like your actions and like not in like the game will remember you did that kind of way. It should just be like
Mm.
happening as you're playing. Like, okay, you weren't supposed to do that, and now there is something rapidly approaching your area.
Yeah, there's not many games like that. I mean, there technically is like, group games where you're trying to like banish a ghost and things like that. But it's like, it's not as good quality as like a single player experience of like rules and things like that. I'm trying to think of like the closest that comes to it is like maybe Devour.
That's true.
But even then, it's like you said, there's no consequences. There's just like, hey, you got caught by the monster.
It's so boring. And as much as I love a co-op game, I feel like being around other people who are constantly like screaming and losing their minds while playing a chase and gather game, it really just does lose the experience for me. And I'm like, I can't think when all of you are screaming in my ear. Like, please.
Oh god, I played a game. I played a Minecraft game with like two other people, and we were like, oh, we were all like, we didn't get into a Discord call because like, oh, there's a typing, and you're able to talk via in game, and
Right.
we had a doppelganger mod,
Oh,
and
those are fun.
one of them approached me and they're like, "Oh, hey, Suki, do you have any coal?" I'm like, "Yeah, here, I got some coal here. Do you need something?" And I'm like, I threw it to them, and I go back to Dave, and then again they're like, "Oh, hey, Suki, do you have any coal?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I do. I just gave you some. I just thanks to cook some more. Here you go." And then when I heard the third time, I'm like, why do you keep asking for coal? And then I like type in the search bar. I'm like, "How much coal do you need?" And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Suki?" I went, "Oh
Oh.
no, oh no, I'm in a tunnel alone with this thing."
So good. And so scary. Like, why would you do that to me?
That's why like Minecraft some low key some really good horror mods. Um, they have like even like full on ARGs. Like if you like talk into the chat, um, the mod will respond to you in certain ways, and
Right.
like keeps like a tracker of like good points and bad points. Like the more bad points you get, the more things are gonna ramp up.
Mhm.
And
What has a really good mimic mod? Repo I think does.
oh, does Repo have a mimic? I know Lethal Company does.
Lethal Company does have one of those, yeah.
Repo, I would not be surprised because like I feel like Repo is gonna become the new Lethal.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I feel like it's less buggy overall. Like I have trouble like connecting to like Lethal Company the more mods there are. Because if you have one mod that's slightly off from everyone else, you're unable to join the game. But like Repo, it's like there's not really any much mods, so like you could just join.
Right. It's just easy overall. So I can get that.
Shall we begin the second story?
Yes, we should. Our next story. We are leaving the Colorado mountains and heading over to North Carolina for Phantom Hiker of Grandfather Mountain, a North Carolina ghost story. When the guys proposed we take a day hike on Grandfather Mountain, I agreed with enthusiasm. Grandfather Mountain looms craggily over the scenery just a few miles from my hometown. It is a 5,949 feet in elevation, has a mile-high swinging bridge, fantastic views of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and the best day hikes in the region. It was someplace. Grandfather Mountain got its name from the distinct formation on its top. From Highway 105, you could clearly see a profile of an old man with a long beard and a strong nose snapping, with its head tilted back. I couldn't think of a better way to spend my Saturday afternoon. I packed up my day pack, and the hiking gear I could need for the day. I ran out the front door when I heard my friend honking the car horn. It was a perfect day, clear and sunny and warm through the wind of the mountain. Top could be chilly. Brian, Jerry, and I arranged to have a couple friends drop us off at the trailhead and leave our car in the parking lot at the top since we were getting a late start and figured we'd never make it back down the mountain before dark. And only the very foolish hike on Grandfather Mountain after dark. I just feel like you shouldn't do that, period, but
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
It's a dangerous mountain. We
that's
decided.
oh, good.
No, go ahead.
I was just say, I feel like that's like just like common sense. Like, hey, don't hike at night. Like, especially if there's any like divergence in the path and you don't know the place. Like, I've been to like some like hikes where it's like, oh, there is divergence in the path, but there's like the short loop and the longer loop. Like your 2 mile hike back might suddenly become an 8 mile hike back, and you might be quite lost.
Yeah, just about everything and anything will go wrong. And not in a hee hee ha ha way either. Actually, not to deviate from the story, but well, I took an Uber not too long ago, and the Uber driver was like a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and she was talking about how near the in the mountains where we got picked up, some people were admitted to the ER because they slipped in a like certain part of like the mountain, and they had broken like ribs, and something had happened with their foot, and I'm like, yeah, hiking mountains is a very dangerous game.
Oh yeah, I a cabin that me and my father used to stay at was like kind of like a shared like communal cabin. Like everyone like there was one owner, but like they would give out keys so like people could stay. And
That's cool.
there's like 4 quads, and the one person was like not being careful because there is a quad trail, but it's like a you go slow because you're going around trees, even though you're even going over stumps, things like that. Like it's possible you just have to go very slow. And they decided to speed it, and then it's a mountain. There's like a lot of valleys and hills. They went over the hill and then crashed and like broke their leg, and
Oof.
they actually had to like air vac them out because they're like we have to carry you up this 40-foot hill, and they're like with broken leg we're just gonna make things worse. And
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons
Oh,
why you
that
just don't
sucks.
you be very very careful, because if you don't know the terrain, you don't know where you are, things will suddenly just drop off.
That's why I'm a full advocate for like if your friends are going hiking and you don't want to go, don't go because if someone rushes the process, you're all gonna die. Just take it at ease. If you don't want to do it, don't do it because then you're gonna. I feel like when people go and do things that they don't want to do, they do it very haphazardly, and you not wanting to go do something with your friends is gonna turn into you ending up in the hospital. So don't do it.
I think at one time I definitely made Patty worried because we went for like a 5 mile hike, and so at the end at the end of the trip, because it like does a loop around, the halfway point, which is like you go in and then you come back a different way, right?
Yeah.
There's this giant waterfall, and you can climb up like the side of the waterfall. Like there's a trail to go up like higher to like take pictures of things. And I was like, oh, I can climb this, and I started climbing. And I could just see, I just look back and I could just see Patty like, Suki, I promise I would bring you back home safe and sound. Because I do mountain climbing and things like that. So I was like, oh, I can climb this easily. And I can just see like the panic on his face, like, please, please don't get hurt. Uh,
Oh.
in another similar situation, I made a terrible joke, though it was kind of funny. Um, Me, him, and cousin Matt went hiking one time, and it was like a few days before Patty's wedding. And at the top of this mountain is this fire tower,
Oh.
and it's been abandoned. I think they said for like 10 years because they don't use it anymore. And
Oh.
but you can still go up it. Though they don't recommend it because it hasn't been used 10 years. So I started climbing up of it, and he's like, hey Suki, we need you for the wedding. I'm like, I like called down as like because it's like a 50-foot tower. I'm like 25 feet up, and I call back down. I'm like, technically, we really only need you for the wedding because it's your wedding.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
why I never leave my house, says Lucy. That's funny.
and I was kind of always thinking to myself, like, you know what? That just jinxed things. I bet. But it was such a beautiful view. But I am not afraid of heights, but I become more aware. I'm like, look, I'm 50 feet up in a tower that's not up to code. Don't be stupid, Suki.
Right? You trying to be whimsical and funny, and then while you're laughing, you just hear the ladder just creaking, and you're like, oh no, let's go back down.
It was very interesting because it was not like a ladder climbing up. It was like a staircase in, so there was like floors.
Oh, okay.
But like once you got up the railing, but once you got to the top, the railing was like waist level. So if you leaned over, if that thing couldn't, the railing couldn't keep you, you will go over.
Holy.
It didn't help that there was like a foot of snow on the ground either. Um, Funny enough, this is how like Patty and cousin Matt first met me. I was in full cowboy boots, like trekking this. I like Suki owns a pair of cowboy boots, and I was like, that is using my hiking gear.
Cowboey boots
Yeah,
into your willpower.
pretty much.
You know what? Love that.
It, on like a little side tangent on that, I got like the most like because the first day I'm in town, I went to a diner and I sit down and I was like, I ordered the breakfast and the waitress goes, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I was just like, "What gave it away?" I'm like, "Was it the accent? Was it the cowboy boots? Like, what gave it away here?"
Imagine it be both.
Hey, Sagerson, imagine the amount of hikers that get lost on her mountain. Now I'm kind of worried with what happened to these missing hikers. Like
Oh no.
what is the Sayer doing? Making some soup out of them?
The way I go get mail, bring in the trash bins, is the same way as SpongeBob running up and screaming while taking the trash out at night. Oh god.
So we all did as kids, right? Turn out the light and run back, run to your bed as quick as possible.
True.
I feel like that, like even if you're not scared, that was just like an ingrained thing that every like kid did at one point. It's like you have to like run to the bed as quick as possible as soon as you turn out the light.
And you make those like imaginary bets with yourself. Oh, if I don't make it back in time, I die, or the boogeyman gets me. Oh, why did we do that as kids? Why did I do that as a
Yeah.
kid? I did that as a kid a lot, actually.
You know what I did that was like that was holding my breath going past the cemetery. I forgot like what where I heard that challenge. Like if you hold your breath at the beginning of the drive by a cemetery, and then like you lose your breath, like you have to breathe again, the devil gets you or something, or the devil will show up. So like you have to like hold your breath till you pass the cemetery. And I used to do it all the time as a
Yeah.
kid, and there was like I was just like, what? Where did I learn that? Why the fuck did I do that?
No, that's crazy. Oh man.
Hola, Jesus. Shall
Oh
we?
no.
Shall we continue?
Yes, we shall. We decided to hike up the way to Callaway Peak via the profile trial, which goes right up over the grandfather's face.
The,
We
the,
paid for hiking day passes. What was that?
is it supposed to be like the trail is called Profile? Like, is it Profile
I
Trail?
think so.
That it just feels
The profile trail.
like I don't know why you call it. Oh, maybe it's because like profile, like a facial profile.
Oh yeah, like right up over the grandfather's face. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I like had to think about it for a moment. I was like, why is profile capitalized? Like, why is that the name of a trail? But then I was like, oh right, because people refer to your face as your profile,
That's right. I completely forgot about that.
and that's why I said that's why the face is in quotations, which go right up over the grandfather's face. Okay,
Yeah. We paid
continue.
for the hiking day passes, and our buddy dropped us off at the trailhead. Donning our packs, we set off on our adventure. One of the reasons I love hiking Grandfather Mountain is because the backstory is so different from other areas in the south. The trails take you through forests, usually found in Canadian climates, and you get to see some rare and endangered plants during the travels. According to the guidebook, there are 16 distinct ecosystems on Grandfather Mountain. Jogging along wooded pathways, picking our way cautiously up steep inclines and pausing to take in magnificent views. The day passed quickly. Then we reached the peak. We paused for a while to eat some snacks and take photos. During our break, we talk turned.
The talk turned.
The talk turned. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
So,
Staring at a black background with the white letters and staring at the white background with the black letters. It messed with my
dude, I'm
eyes.
so
I'm like,
used
oh
to
my
having like
god.
night mode on my phone. I had to like squint.
I was like, oh shit. Okay, the talk turned, as it always did when we climbed Grandfather Mountain, to the various stories connected to the place. Grandfather Mountain had a special place in Cherokee mythology. It was called Tanawa Fabulous Eagle, and was once considered the resting place of the eagle spirit. It was also thought that there was an entrance to the underworld on Grandfather Mountain. That's crazy because people always say that the mountain where the Hollywood sign is, that like there's an entrance to the underworld there too.
Is that where like
What's
all like the Hollywood elite or like devil worshippers come from? Is because of that?
You know what? I wouldn't doubt it because I know a lot of people say that when they go to Hollywood for the first time that the vibes there, it feels weird. Like there's a lot of people who are like not native to California, they say that Hollywood has a really bad vibe.
I can get it. It feels like as I guess because it is like the acting capital of the world. It feels fake. You know what I mean?
Very.
It feels like the whole city is acting like a city acting like a city. If that feels like if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like like tourist cities that like they hype up like they act like a tourist place. It feels like the whole city is acting like a tourist place.
Yeah, I feel like though, like with time, you kind of just like lean into that a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily call that a work of evil. It's kind of just like, ooh, yeah, our city is haunted. Might as well go along with the act.
You know what's speaking of haunted? You know like what has like a lot of ghost tours is New Orleans. I did like
That's
3
true.
different like ghost tours, and like we did a tour and we actually stopped in front of the place that was featured with Interview with a Vampire. We actually stopped in front of that
Okay.
building. Because that's like right in New Orleans, and they're like talking about it at length. Um, with the there's like this giant canal that like runs through the city. They talked about that. We saw like the different because like the water rises so often in New Orleans, and it's because it's like right on top of a swamp. They don't bury
Oh,
people, or when they bury people, they put like a cage over it, so the body doesn't wash away, which used to happen back in the day. So we saw like a lot
oh
of
my
different
God.
tombs. We saw like we saw apparently like it cost like millions to like actually get buried there because the space is limited in the city. But, like Nick Cage had like a pyramid in New Orleans like for his resting ground when he eventually passes away. So like
Really?
yeah,
What the hell? I didn't know that. It's crazy.
did not know that. Like, but we saw like the name on it too, and everything was like, wow, this is really cool. but like there's like
That's gotta be a bad omen.
oh god, right? So there's like a lot of ghost like tours in New Orleans. A lot of like, we took a tour like about the history of voodoo, like who were like the big witch doctors, things like
Oh, okay.
that. Because like, voodoo was like a big part of that that city. We stopped.
Right.
There was like they almost called it like a school or college, but there was like this college that was in the city, like the heart of Bourbon Street, where they were like, hey, this is where like a lot of them grew up and like would practice their craft. And I was like, this is really really cool.
Yeah.
It's weird to think because like New Orleans is always thought of like the party city, but it's like there's so much more than that. If you step 2 blocks away from Bourbon Street itself, you're in a whole different climate.
Yeah. I think one of the stepping away from horror just for a brief second. I know this woman on TikTok who has a dress store there, and she's like super like elegant, beautiful lady who like talks about New Orleans like tea time like stuff and how
Yeah,
like they take their balls there like and their fancy like stuff there like super seriously. Like you don't show to tea time or like lunch in certain places in jeans. You will not be seated. Like you have to go like full dress wear. And like how she has a shop that lets like the people who live there and the people who visit like buy like top of the line like really nice gloves and dresses. And I'm like, oh, that's actually so cool. Like New Orleans is like super rich in history with stuff like that, so it's
I
really nice to see.
I can confirm because like we went to a nice restaurant. Well, because we did a road trip and like we stopped in Knoxville, Tennessee. We stopped in New Orleans.
Mm.
We stopped in Dallas, Texas. We stopped in St. Louis. We stopped in Columbus, Ohio. But like when we were in New Orleans for a day or two, we stopped in like this nice restaurant. Like that was our our big dinner for like the trip, and like we were handed menus. And I was a kid. I was like, why is there no prices on the menus? Because I'm so used to like diners, restaurants, there'd be prices on the
Oh,
menu.
there's no price. It's a hefty fine.
And my father explained to me, he's like, yeah, when you get to like nice restaurants, there's no price next to it because it's like you expect to pay, you know,
Yeah.
a hefty fine. But it was great. It was like I had like a pasta with it was like crawfish, shrimp, and like there was something else. I forget what it was like. Maybe it was crayfish, but it was like a free like almost like type of crustacean like pasta, and I was like, wow, this is absolutely delicious. It's what put me to like actually start eating crawfish was because of that
Oh, nice.
dish. And that's actually something like I hear like people complain that like America has like no cuisine. I'm like, you have to go to like New Orleans. Just New Orleans cuisine alone, there are so many different dishes from like gumbo, um,
Gumbo is
to
good.
beignets to like the different pasta dishes they have there. Like you have so much there to say like, oh yeah, America has no cuisine. I'm like, that's just one city. What you on about?
Yeah. Gotta look in the right places. Gotta go to the right spots. The Hollywood sign thing comes from Percy Jackson series, I think. Actually, now that I think
Oh
about it, yeah, I could remember that too.
God, that feels like a Percy Jackson thing. Not saying that's a bad thing. I just know like Percy Jackson somehow like what was it? The Empire State Building was like how to get to Olympus. I think it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's so funny.
Apparently they're on like series 4 now, or like series
Oh yeah,
4 or
with the new
5.
stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, because the books they did the Percy Jackson series. They did a thing where there was the roaming camp, there was the Apollo trials, there was the Egyptian series, and I think they're doing another new series.
Shout out to Robbie Damon for doing the reading for the Apollo trials. We'll love to see it.
Oh right, Robbie did do that, huh?
Yeah, he's so cool.
He is so cool.
Back to the reading though, so we
You're right.
can get on to some smaller stuff that we have. Entrance to the underworld on Grandfather Mountain. They were marked by the spring head and guarded by little people as well as Black Panther. As we passed our granola bars, Jerry laughingly mentioned that we had walked through one of the places where the Phantom Hiker had been reported. Brian perked up then. He loves ghost stories. He demanded details, but Jerry had none to give. So I told him the tale as I heard it from other folks hiking in the region. Apparently, there was a stretch of trail, folks disagree on which one, where the hiker would appear. The man would tramp past his viewers without acknowledging their nods or greetings and then would vanish into thin air. Folks thought the phantom must be a hiker, must be a mountain man who had died somewhere near here and had returned, refusing to leave after death. Others thought it must be a long ago explorer who fell off a mountain while hiking. It wasn't much of a story, really, but Jerry lapped it up. It was getting late, and we needed to hustle. I did not want to tackle some of those trickier tales at dusk. Packing up, we headed down the trail. We reached a wide open rocky stretch that was fairly difficult to navigate. We headed along the trail in the direction of the upper parking lot where our buddies had left the car. A tall, gruff fellow with a craggy face and beard hiked past us. He was wearing old-fashioned clothing and had a rough sort of pack-on bag on his back. He didn't look at us as he approached. He didn't acknowledge or nod of greeting as he passed us. He must be hiking the way down at the bottom of the mountain, which is just plain foolish, because there's no way he could reach the trail before dusk. He approached. Wait, Jerry must have had some thought. He nudged me as the man passed us and said,
He'll never make it to the bottom for dark. We should offer him a ride to his car.
I nodded and we both turned to call after the hiker. He had vanished. I stared blankly at the wide open rocky surface of the mountain. The tree line was at least 500 feet away on all sides. Where had the hiker gone? I shuddered superstitiously.
Vanished to fit air.
Is a hackneyed phrase that is overused in the books and movies. I hated to use it, but in this instant, it's just what the hiker had done. He had disappeared. Jerry's eyes were huge as he glanced nervously back and forth along the rocky hilltop. There was nowhere to go, nowhere to hide on the rocky section of trail. So where was the hiker? He glanced up questioningly at me, his pale face. Brian, who had continued a little way down the path, stopped now and called to us.
Come on, guys. Why are you stopping? Where did that hiker go?
I asked, gesturing to the empty rocky ground around us.
He passed us a few seconds ago, and there's nowhere to hide. Can't have reached the tree line. There was no time. We turned around with 2 or 3 seconds after he passed us.
Jerry said.
Maybe it was the Phantom.
Brian called back to us, a little sarcastically. My arms broke out into goosebumps at the thought.
Come on.
He added.
We can tell the rangers to look out for him when we get back to the car.
We nodded reluctantly, gave a bare, rocky hilltop another disbelieving scan, and hurried after Brian. It was getting late when we reached the car. We put our packs into the trunk and then found the nearest ranger to tell him about the late hiker tramping down the long trail to the bottom of the mountain. The ranger promised to keep an eye out for him. We thanked the ranger and headed for home, still a bit spooked by the whole occurrence. Had we really seen the phantom hiker? Or had the man simply been really, really fast? I checked in with the ranger the next day to see if the man had been found, but the ranger had seen no one on his sweep of the mountains. The hiker had vanished without a trace, so it remains a mystery to this day. Did we see the phantom hiker of the Grandfather Mountain? I think so. What do you think?
You know, when they mentioned about the thing to the underworld, there is actually something similar to in my state of a long old tale.
Really?
No one knows what it is. It's called the eight. It's the eight gates of hell in Pennsylvania, but it's like
What?
there's this forest and there's these like eight gates like standalone gates that are just in the middle of the woods that you could pass through. No one knows what the gates were to. Like were they to like a hospital or a cabin? But they're like in this forest, and you're supposed to, if you do it in this order from 1 to 8 without passing one, you end up in hell. Eh,
No, that's crazy.
because like there's always things like like maybe like cellar stays still standing after a cabin is like falls over, like a staircase or anything, but it was just like 8 random gates with like no fencing or anything or signage, and it was just like a famous tale for a while. It's journey on wise approach to structure in the woods that doesn't belong in the woods. So very true.
That seems about right and safe. I wouldn't approach anything that doesn't need my attention. I'm just gonna leave it there.
I Speaking of like structure in the woods or things like that, I there was like two point of view of like two creators I watch, and it was like a funny of like what if, because the one they're urban explorer, they'll travel to like abandoned places to explore to see what's going on, right? Well,
Yeah.
they're exploring a place, and it was like a abandoned hospital, and they could see down the hall, like around the corner, there was like flashing glowing lights. He's like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, this place is
Oh
abandoned.
God.
I'm not going near it." He's like, we gotta leave." And one of the other point of view people that watch, he what he does is bring you like a loudspeaker and he'll play music, and he'll play like Kendrick Lamar or like Rihanna and sing along to the music, like we're trying like we're trying to get the ghost pump, right? And he heard something in the same building the same day, down the hallway around the corner, and both were like, "What the fuck is it? Like someone that's like squatting or." A
No, for
druggie
sure.
or a ghost, and they're both freaked the fuck out, both left, and then like fans, like people in the comments are like, "Wait a second, I know this hallway from someone else's point of view." And they were able to piece together it was just two people exploring at opposite ends the same day.
Right. No, that's crazy.
There's so many like tales in like Japan about like tunnels, especially like if you go down this abandoned tunnel, you'll end up in the underworld or you'll run into a ghost. Hell, that was like the whole like Dandadan with like Turbo Granny.
Oh,
It's
right, with
it's
that tunnel.
it's based off a real story.
Yeah, I believe it.
There is like a lot of stories that like people don't realize from the animes or mangas, things like that. They're like based off like real like folklore from there.
Yeah.
Um, we have like similar ones too. Like, but I feel like especially nowadays, like half the time if there's like some kind of folklore tale that's new, the devil's involved somehow.
Right,
Like
like
holding your breath, going by the cemetery, the devil will get your soul. If you place a deck of cards on the windowsill, um, offering a challenge, play blackjack. If the wind blows, the devil took a seat on the other end. You like things like that.
it's just so tiring. Like, did he tell you this? Do you know? Did you ask him? It's so unoriginal.
I
I
was
doubt it's the devil doing everything.
I will say one of my favorite like coincidence is the 27 Club. When it comes to that, is that
That I do love.
oh god, so many famous musicians died at the age of 27. Um, there was like the idea that they sold their soul to the devil and that's how they died. And like, because
Right.
people are like, oh yeah, who died? It's like Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Jonas Joplin. I can't think of his name from the lead singer of the Doors. Like a lot of big
Right.
people die. Oh, one of the founding members of Rolling Stones. Um, like some of the biggest names you could think of all died at 27. I forget if it was like I think it was Jimmy and then the guy from the Rolling Stones like died within like a month of each other, and they like sent letters back and forth like days beforehand.
Right.
It's like so wild. Oh yeah, was it Amy? Is it Whitney Houston that I think died, or Amy Winehouse like died at 27? One of the two. Like,
I think Amy.
but like the 27 Club is something I find very interesting, and there's even like a myth attached to that. If you go to a crossroads at night with a guitar offering to give your soul, the devil will give you like great musical talent in return for your soul. But it's like you have to like become famous within 1 year, otherwise he'll take your soul. Like it's like there is some like really good stories when it comes to the devil, but it's also like half the time the cop out answer when it comes to like some tales.
Right. Aren't there like a bunch of demons with names that could be used? Why is Lucifer always brought into these things, LVO, says Lucy?
Actually, I can tell you a bit about this. This is one of my favorite things is that Lucifer and Satan are two separate beings.
Right.
People think that they're the same being and they're not. Satan was always a devil. Lucifer was a fallen angel, And there's Baal we often use as a demon devil name was actually a god named like Asian Judaism for as a false god. Bahamut.
Yeah.
A lot of these were just some of these were actually just ancient like gods during like early Judaism time that were just like, oh, these are actually false gods, devils.
Yeah.
Like Baal was used. If you look at the Old Testament, Baal is used quite a bit. You just don't realize it.
Yeah. I could believe that.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite things, that there is a lot of demon devils names. Beelzebub is another name that's used. But yeah, there's like a bunch of them. There's like, I think it's like 72 Lords of Hell. Then each of them have their own armies and things like that. The thing is, like, people don't realize it. What is it? When One of my favorite things to read about in the Old Testament is like when we know like the rapture is coming. Hades will make appearance. Like Hades is actually called out directly in the Bible. That people don't realize it. Like there's quite a bit of things that like when it comes to like devil or demon names that were like, oh hey, like these are answers too that you can use for horror.
Yeah, I'm not even surprised.
Yeah. I think the thing was like the number of the beast, like the 666, is just supposed to be like is supposed to be a reference to one of the Roman emperors, because his number was like 333. Like if you actually take time to like research, like, oh, I'm being rated. Hello.
Hooray!
You came in the middle of like a oh, by two people. Wait, hold on. Wait, three. Oh
Hooray!
shit.
Hooray!
Hold on. Fuck. I need to do shout outs. Uh, oh fuck. Luca. Oh shit. This makes sense. I was like, why am I getting rated? Okay.
We love to see it.
Okay. Hello Raiders. I am Sukino Usagi, your Moon Rabbit turned host. I am joined today by. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Von Alien, and myself, I'm writing VTuber does everything, and today we are starring our hearts out to horror. Or specifically, Mountain Time.
Yes, we are the joint partnership of Dark Side of the Moon, where we talk about various horror. We consume horror media, like watching things, playing things. Today we're reading various folklore stories, ghost tales, creepy pastas. They're all themed around the mountains. We just finished the Phantom Hiker of Grandfather Mountain, a ghost story told by S.C. Skulzer. We just finished one of the incident at the Rocky Mountains, and I think the next one we're going to tackle is some Appalachian ghost stories like the Bell Witch.
Yes. The Bell Witch.
Yes. But yes, welcome in, Raiders. If you are not used to scary things, we will give you the horror warning that we are reading actual, like, creepypasta, ghost stories, things that happened. We'll be reading some folklore today that's, I guess, you could put some truth into it because they've been reported, but always take things with a grain of salt. We're also going off topic a lot of times, talking about other horror stories. I was just actually in the middle of talking how different demon devils have been mentioned in like the Bible, and like how even Hades was mentioned in the Bible, for example. But if that's into your liking, feel free to stick around. We're about to start with the next one. Vaughn, did you want me to take over? Because like that last story did not have much dialogue at all.
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead
Yeah.
and read the Bell Witch.
So we're about to now read some Appalachian ghost stories.
Also, Luca, I followed you.
Luca is so
Hooray.
great. I love Luca. Their design is so peak. Their cosplays are so awesome. Recently they've been doing a lot of Elden Ring and Night Rain, and like I
Mhm.
love listening to Luca's voice. Like Luca has like one of those voices that I can just like sit to and like put in the background listening to as like I do some homework. It's really great.
Oh,
Also, one of the first few
lovely.
people I met in the community when I joined in VTubing. Like, I feel like both of us fun. Like, a lot of people that we started with are not around anymore. But like Luca is like
Luca, I
like
think it's my follow. You're too sweet.
one of the first people I met in the community.
Hooray!
And then Sakusan's kicking herself over there. Like, why didn't I introduce Vaughn and Suki sooner? Yes.
All things happen the way they should, when they should.
This is the Bell Witch. Um, Quite possibly one of the most well-known Appalachian stories because the story of the Bell Witch was made into a movie in 2013.
Really? What the
The
heck? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like people don't realize like a lot of horror movies are based off like real things. Like what is the whole Conjuring universe is technically based off real things that were collected. Oh, I said Takusan that you kicked
It's
yourself that you
true.
didn't introduce me and find each other sooner. Because like Annabelle's a real doll. Um,
Right.
the Crooked Man is based off of real, um, real folklore tale. Actually, a poem as well, because there's a whole Crooked Man like poem. Like, there's a Crooked Man like who had a crooked house, who had a crooked cat.
Right.
It was all based off something. Um, the Conjuring itself, because the whole like the what's their name? What's their name in the Conjuring universe? The married couple.
Um, Ed and Lorraine?
Yes, the Lorraines actually did like actually visited places. Like they were based off like real things that they did. Now, were they
Right.
actually
The
ghosts that
Warrens.
they interacted with? That's a whole different thing. But like a lot of the movies that are based in that universe is actually based off things that the Lorraines have interacted with or collected.
Right.
Um, so there's quite a few movies that are based off technically real things in air quotes. Um,
Yeah.
God, one of my favorite it was the
Little
Exorcist movie.
hero.
One of the Exorcist movies was actually based off a real event because it was like it was the last time Exorcist case was done by a Catholic priest in America. I mean, they exaggerated greatly, but it was like the last.
Rosemary's Baby?
Yeah, yeah, I think that was the one where it was like that was the last time where like the Catholic Church was like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Like, let's not open up these cans of worms.
Yeah.
Mhm. But this film was based on legend hauntings of the Bell family that dated all the way back to 1817. John Bell
Mm.
and his family lived in Robertson County, Tennessee, near the town of Adams. Though some might argue that Robertson County isn't technically in Appalachia. This is actually something I actually find very interesting because like, we just read a story that was based off North Carolina. Where does like the South technically start? Because I always thought it was anything that was like south of like Virginia South.
Right.
Like where does like the South or Appalachia start when it comes to like our states?
That's a good question.
Because I always like because I know like I guess like that they use that's what they did for like the Civil War. Because I know like Richmond was the South's capital at the time, so I guess like Virginia's is where like it would start, and I guess
Thank you for this
Appalachians would
time
be
to
a state of
listen.
to the left or not yeah to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for giving a sub to Von Lucy. I'll thank you as well. Saxon's underneath for desk organizing cables. And thank you for the
No.
compliment, by the way. Luke call me an OG and call me the sweetest bun around. I try to be. Um, I think it's close enough and the story's interesting, so we're going with it. John Marie Cloquet's family from North Carolina. North Carolina is haunted. To a 320-acre farm in Tennessee in 1804. I think people don't realize how big an acre is at times. The 320-acre farm is huge. My grandparents owned a quarter of an acre of a property, and it was a huge backyard. Like an acre is like a full on like city block.
Oh,
Yeah. In 1804, for many years they lived peacefully on this farm, but all changed in 1817. One day, John noticed a strange animal out in his fields. It had the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit. John shot at this strange creature, but it disappeared. Over the coming months, John's children also began to witness strange apparitions appearing on the property. Drew Bell tried approaching a bird of extraordinary size before it flew away. Betsy Bell saw a girl in a green dress swinging from the branch of an oak tree. It's thought that these strange sightings were that of the Bell Witch. From here, the antics of the Bell Witch escalated. Family claimed to hear haunting sounds in their home that sounded like chains riding the floor, dog fights, and things growling at their bedside. They also hear
oh,
voices speaking directly to them. The witch seemed to have a particular hatred for John Bell and his daughter Betsy, as Betsy was slapped, pinched, and stuck with pins by the witch. Strangely, the Bell Witch didn't seem to carry the same disdain for Lucy, John Bell's wife, or his sons. Once word got out about this witch, people just had to see this thing for themselves. People started camping out on the Bell property by the hundreds to get a glimpse of the Bell Witch. A few of them left with haunting accounts of their own. The story of the Bell Witch came to head when she vowed to kill John Bell 3 years after beginning a reign of terror on the family. On December 20th, 1820, John was found dead with a vial of poison at his side. His death was officially attributed to the Bell Witch, making Tennessee the only state to recognize a person's passing as supernatural. A year later, in 1821, poor Betsy was so tormented by the witch that she called for engagement to a local man, Joshua Gardner.
oh.
I didn't realize like there's actually a case where they claim supernatural for the passing. You can visit the historic Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee. They have preserved artifacts from the original Bell cabin.
That's crazy.
Wow. I did not realize like people would actually like claim that someone died from supernatural causes. That's very interesting. But I guess it was a different time period that during then.
Well, the thing is, for something like that, because in The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, that case actually went to court. Like, they argued, like, the supernatural thing, but ultimately it was a plead for, like, insanity. So my thing is, when people argue those things, it's like, how official is it in a court? Because like this case, and then
Mm-hmm.
for the people who were in that story that actually took it to a court, like, are they always gonna make them plead insanity because, oh my god, a ghost made me shoot somebody? Like, come on, come on, like, come on.
I can actually speak from personal experience because a incident in my own family is that someone was like guilty,
Right.
and their lawyer told that person to like that my family member would be like, "Hey, plead insanity, you'll get off easier." And I was like, "Excuse me," but I was like, but I asked my father, like, "But they're not," and my father's like, "I know, it annoys us."
Oh, that's crazy then.
Because apparently there's like such a different like legal system. Like if you plead insanity, like even if you don't, you just need like a doctor to say, yeah, they're probably clinically insane, and you could get away with like a easier like sentence. So I wonder if like how many also like insanity cases were just like falsified as well.
It's the probably for me. Like, what do you mean probably? It's a yes or no. That's just crazy.
It is that was like a very interesting movie too. Like the Conjuring movies are very interesting because I do think they do get worse as they go down the movies like line because it's like
Yeah.
most like I think movies anyway. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Marvel. Some of your movies suck now, but God, what was the one? I'm trying to think of it. I can always remember because the end scene where the old lady's like mouth becomes like a snake. It's the one where like they do like a dementia like um taping to show like someone's like descent to dementia, but it turns out she's just haunted.
Oh?
Is it the case? It's the case of something. But the whole movie is like, hey, there's this film crew. They're doing a movie about like how dementia affects someone, like how they advance into it until death, and they're watching this older woman, but things start happening. Like she suddenly like goes from standing on the floor to like on immediately on the counter. Like there's no jump. She just
Yeah.
appears. She's suddenly in one night like digging in the backyard for something, like things like that. And she's and the movie the filming crew is like, hey, something's going on here. Like this is like actual haunting, and it all like leads up to the end where like she's being haunted by a spirit, and like she's turning into like this snake demon. Ah, one of
I've never heard that. That
the
is crazy.
one of the scariest visuals I have ever seen in like a horror movie. Gave me chills when I first saw it.
I'm gonna need to look that up now. That's actually crazy. What the hell?
I'm seeing if I can look it up real quick before we move on to the next one.
Okay.
The Taking of Deborah Logan. Ah, the Taking of Deborah Logan is such a good one. Like if you really want to, it's a decade old, but like if you want to watch about like, yeah, it's Alzheimer's. But if you want to watch like good haunting movie with like good special effects in like the last like 10-15 minutes of the movie, the Taking of Deborah Logan is so good.
Oh, that's you know what? I'm gonna put that on my list because that sounds crazy.
Hmm. Um, Actually, that reminds me. A really good movie that I saw recently, a horror movie, was the Weapons. Weapons was very good.
Oh yeah, that one's on HBO. I think if you want to watch it at home.
It also is the ending is technically funny, I would say.
What?
So it makes no sense, but if you watch the movie and you get to the end, the ending is almost kind of funny. And I told this to Patty before we watched the movie, and Patty came out of the movie. He's like, "You're right, Suki. The ending is technically funny."
That's crazy. Okay, I'll add that one to my list too.
Um, Should I get on with the next little tale here?
Yeah. Also, how are you doing for time?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Excellent.
Old Stone Church's Haunted Grave. Moving on to another witchy tale, our next ghost story brings us to Old Stone Church in Clemson, South Carolina, at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains. What is with so many like folklore having to do with the Carolinas tonight? Like either it's happening in Carolina or they're from Carolinas. Folks say it's
You know how it is.
right. Folks
There.
say that
Take
this
the
church is home to a haunted gravesite that no plants will grow on. The grave also appears to attract lightning. It's shattered where there should be a name. The name of the woman resting eternally there, 6 feet below. On a side note there, it is crazy, like, how many old, like, grave sites you can find, like, if you go out traveling. Especially in, like, small towns. You'll find, like, gravestones that are from, like, the 1700s or 1800s.
Mm.
Legends say this woman's from the low country of South Carolina, and her name is Lisa Hooger. The walls around her grave have been built and rebuilt because the lightning has struck her resting place time and time again. Locals say that
Oh.
you toss a coin on her grave for good luck, but that taking one is a fool's errand that one might regret. I don't know about y'all, but I'd much rather toss a coin to Miss Hooger than to try taking one from her grave.
That just feels like bad luck. Why would you steal from the dead? What is wrong with you?
That's like one of the things. Like if I were ever like had to take a job as like a gravekeeper, because like there's so many people that will leave like things like beer or something on the grave. Like one of my close buddies, he told me like, "Hey Suki, if I were to pass away, could you do the tradition of like pouring out a drink on my grave or leaving a
Oh.
bottle?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I'm like, Can you imagine being the gravekeeper? Because like it feels bad luck to remove something from the grave, but like you don't want to cause too much clutter or attract animals. Like I'd be like saying a prayer as I like remove this. Like, hey ghost, please don't haunt me. Please don't haunt me. Like I'm trying to keep your grave not be attracting wild animals and knocking it over. Please don't do something to me.
You have a lot more like morality in you than a lot of people who actually work in those places because my grandmother, she's in a mausoleum. For those
Hmm.
of you who don't know what a mausoleum is a building that you go into where the bodies are inside the wall instead of being buried in the ground. And they always take everything from her little section. Like there's nothing like causing like hazard like incidents. There's nothing being around the wall, and everything we put like on her little section, like it's super secure. It's not going anywhere. It's inside and it's not gonna cause a mess. But every time we leave like really expensive like little thingies for her, like for Easter and like all her favorite holidays and stuff like that, they always take them. Why don't they don't just give them back? I don't know, but like they don't. So I'm like, it's inside. It's not causing a mess. Why do you take everything? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's wild. Like, cause like I feel like after a while you just I like flowers. I guess you can get because like if they rot, you don't want it to like
Right.
you know rot on the grave. But like you fear like certain things you just leave because like if I felt like if I read a poem or something for like someone and leave it on the gravesite, like if you remove it, I'm gonna be livid.
Right?
Like
Like
that's
for
for
what
them to
reason?
read whenever they miss me, you know. Eliza Hooker is also known as the Queen Witch of Clemson. The little is known about how she lived and died. There are legends that have made her quite famous. According to some legends, Lisa was born to a wealthy family in Charleston, South Carolina. She had found her way out to New Orleans when she was supposedly a bit of a wild child. Some versions of this legend say that two of her brothers went out that way to bring her back home. Here they found her there in a brothel working with a client.
Oof.
They shot and killed her and brought her body back home, allegedly due to these unseemly circumstances of her death. Lizzie was not welcome back home, so she was buried in the upstate. Brick walls were supposedly built around her grave to contain her sinful spirit.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Wow. And there is actually a picture of it, and it is of a stone wall around her grave. Almost like a mausoleum in a way, but like not as advanced.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
Speaking of like those really old graves that you were talking about earlier, you know what I think is super crazy? Um, is those graves that have the bells. I'm like, oh,
Oh yeah. So that was like
please don't come back alive.
that was the thing because like depending on what you eat or like there was like I forget what it was. It was some kind of insect or like poison or venom that like would like make you like seem dead, or was like some kind of plant you would eat make you seem dead, but you wake up like 24 hours, so that they would put the bell for people to ring if like it was a false like death. And apparently
Right.
there is reports where someone would ring the bell because like yellow fever. Yes, yellow fever. Thank you,
Oh,
Saucy.
yellow fever, yeah.
Like where like people were very much alive, wondering why the hell are they suddenly dead. God, that's something like you ever see there was like something that someone said like, oh, if you ever were buried alive, this is a way to break out, like how you would dig and claw your. I'm like, dude, I'm not remembering that in that moment. In that close space, I'm
Right.
freaking the fuck out. Like, you're like, don't breathe heavy. You need to secure your oxygen. I'm like, dude, the oxygen be gone in a minute.
Yeah, like don't tell me how to freak out. I'll freak out on my own. Thank you.
I think they like were in like the 1700s, and you must
Yes, I can
he.
reach C172. See, I love you. Bye.
You have a good night, Lucy. Can you imagine though if you're like the grave tender, and then suddenly with the bell starts ringing, and you're just like, fuck. But like, can you imagine?
I fear I'd run and go grab somebody else, so
Like,
probably not a reliable source.
you go to help out the first one, then the second bell starts to run across the grave. You're like, is that someone else, or is that ghost fucking?
I'd be so fucking scared. Like, please stop ringing.
And actually, the last one is actually the Phantom Hiker of Grandfather Mountain, which we did
Ooh.
read.
Mm-hmm.
Our final ghost place takes the High County, North Carolina to Grandfather Mountain. Grandfather Mountain and the surrounding geography has the most awe-inspiring vistas. Appalachian Mountains, in my humble opinion. Sitting as a patriarch above the land, Grandfather Mountain has inspired travelers for ages. Adventurers come from far and wide to ascend its lofty peaks, taking the splendor of nature and enjoy the incredible beauty of the area. In fact, Grandfather Mountain is so alluring that many hikers might not want to leave once experienced grandeur, which seemed to be the case of the Phantom Hike of Grandfather Mountain. The Phantom is said to be an older, rough around the edges man with a beard, dressed in a working man's attire that's not of modern times. Some say his low looks he's from the mid 1900s or so. He's got a walking stick, a canvas bag, and those who have seen him say that he just minds his own business and hikes along the trail. In fact, most folks don't seem to realize that he's a ghost until he vanishes up ahead into thin air. As most accounts go, the Phantom hikes quickly along the trail, passes by other hikers providing acknowledgement, then poof, he's gone. Usually, people tend to see him around dusk. So who is he? Many folks believe that he's a hiker who has got lost in the woods, couldn't find his way out, and possibly died. Others figure that it's the spirit of a man who just loved Grandfather Mountain, chose to stay on the mountain after he passed on. He doesn't seem to want any harm, just like along the trail of his beloved place. I really can't blame him, y'all. One day my soul has gone out to the great beyond. I think we fine and dandy claim the trail as a resting place. Honestly, like I like how like it's a ghost tale without like a dark ending. It's just like, hey, ghosts be ghosting.
That would be cool to see something in. I feel like jokes aside, yeah, I would be scared, but like, yo, I just saw a fucking ghost. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like some of the people like I saw this one guy. I watched him for a bit on like TikTok. He would actually go to like grave sites and he used like the spirit box app on his phone to try to talk to ghosts. And I'm like, there has to be something in the app that just like it plays random words at random times, right? Like trusting app as a spirit box on your phone just feels like it's not real. You know what I mean?
On your phone? I mean, yeah, that feels no, but like on like with an actual spirit box, maybe wouldn't trust something on your phone though. There's too many things that could make it not feel real or authentic.
One of my favorite things was actually a it was two guys that were like were camping out this like mansion because it was haunted and they're like they set up cameras everywhere in there, so they were so you would see like they would cut to like different cameras to show what's going on, things like that, but they had one camera that was like set up watching them, and they're like staring at this big monitor that has all the cameras so they can look at, right, at all
Hmm.
times, like see they're seeing everything, and then the guy's like camera three's moving, and they're like, and the guy's like, okay, like what's going on? Camera three's like, and they're like staring at it, and the camera that's like focused on them is the one that's like shaking a bit, moving, and they're just like, camera three's moving, and they're like, wait, that's us, and they're like, they both like turn and like stare at the camera in the corner, like, why are you the only one moving?
Moving and
Like,
grooving.
like they're like, what the fuck? Like they're like, we oh shit, we got movement, and they're like, oh, it's in the room with us. Like they were so excited that they saw movement that they completely forgot. Like it's the camera that's focused on them in the room in the corner.
Right?
Shall we move on to our next one?
Yes.
We do got a few creepypastas. We got Don't Go Gazing. We got Necropolis. We got Has anyone heard of a pill called Ichor? Sometimes it's better to leave survivors behind. The Quakes of Mount Olympus. The Cold. and the Massacre at Wanahini? Which one calls to you?
Oh, I kind of want to see what Don't Go Gazing has to
Okay.
offer.
And I will pass the baton back to you. Because I will admit that technically I did read 3 in a row, but they were, 3 tiny ones.
Does this even have dialogue in it? I don't think it does.
It felt like there was. Oh, I guess it's technically from first person, so they didn't do dialogue. Do we want to go back and forth with paragraphs at a time?
Sure. I don't
Just-
mind.
All right, just say pass when you want to pass it, and I'll take over.
This is Don't Go Gazing. Written by Chance Kimber. This is a copy of something I've written and posted all over the internet. The websites, subreddits, and Discord servers relating to the hobby have long been found and shut down.
I will
There aren't
pause
many
you
of
real
us
quick.
anymore.
By the
Yeah.
way, for people that are listening, we learned the hard way a bit. Well, not the hard way because we didn't get in trouble, but like the Reddit Don't Sleep, they actually require you to get permission to read the stories.
That's true.
Because I accidentally grabbed 2 or 3 things and I was like, "Oh yeah, here's a crate from Don't Sleep." And at one point I was like, "Hey Suki, we can't use these." I was like,
Yeah. It's just, it feels awkward wanting to ask because some of the really good ones are made like, it'll be like a post from like 11 years ago. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna bother this person about a story they wrote 11 years ago. What?
And then even one of the rules was like, if you can't get a hold of the offer, you don't have permission. I'm like, some of these could be technically lost to time, almost, in a weird way. Like, they're there, but you can't, like, re-energize it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that sucks, but we will make do.
I just want to pause you just for anyone that is curious, because, like, if you bring up, like, Don't Sleep stories for us to read, we can't, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm sure we could find it another Reddit that'll be like, yeah, we don't really care if you read these.
True.
Because they have some good stuff on there.
Yeah, the first thing I found was from there too. It's like, oh, this is awesome.
Right.
But you may continue.
Okie dokie. There aren't many of those anymore, let alone those both young, sane, and tech savvy enough to navigate the internet. But I know for a fact that all my old friends that may or may not still gaze still frequent these sites. For obvious reasons, I'd rather not go back into direct contact with them. This is also a general warning for anyone in the state of Utah. Do not go gazing near Park City. 2 things. In case anyone gets curious enough to look it up, not take my warning seriously. Gazing is watching people at their homes.
Wait,
What?
wait. I thought that was like stargazing.
Yeah, see, I wanted to be ignorant and believe that it was something with the sky, but I was like, no, that's too forward for creepypasta. It's not about the sky. This is
I was
definitely murder.
innocent and thought it was stargazing. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like Saw a spaceship or something, right?
2 alien stories in one go would be kind of funny.
It would be kind of funny, right?
That is crazy, though. So gazing is watching people in their homes, never interacting, never doing anything to affect a person or their property. It's illegal, of course, but most of the people that gaze do so from outside of the property. They use this as a legal and moral excuse to justify their curiosity. But most of the hobbyists claim that as long as you are on public property, you aren't breaking any sort of law just by watching someone's house.
Actually, a fun little fact for people: if you are on public property, you can videotape anyone that goes by. You actually get like a lot of people that are called like First Amendment auditors who will go out into like a public place on the sidewalk and videotape people to go by to get like a reaction or get the cops called.
Yeah.
So that is like technically a true thing is that people will go on public private like there's certain things too like they'll go into like a mailbox place and like stand by the door and videotape because technically it's like a public building. So they as long as they don't film like a transaction or like personal information, they'll just like film people inside again for the same reason. They'll do like courthouses as
Mm,
well. So like if you ever see someone like videotaping those type of places, that's what they're doing.
interesting. I don't know if I like that or not. That kind of scares me.
It's a mixed bag. You get them saying they're doing it to like protect people's First Amendment right, but when you're doing it to get a reaction, it kind of feels like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Park City is a place near Salt Lake City in Utah. High up in the mountains, it's a place prided as the home of the Sundance Film Festival, which isn't the case anymore, but for a long time it was quite the claim to fame. And the Winter Olympics back in the early 2000s. The place has a lot of money invested in it, which leads to a lot of big, isolated houses among the mountains where owners don't bother drawing the shades, or just as bad, ignoring that you can see their silhouettes as long as the lights are on, unless you have some very thick curtains in front of your windows. Gazing only has three
Wait,
rules that are
pause,
actually quite outspoken.
pause. What do we think is going to be the twist? I think it's a murder. They're gonna win as a
I
murder.
think it's a murder too, but like they're doing it because they know that they're being watched, and that's the part that I don't like.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Sakusan says Park City is beautiful. Is it?
Ooh,
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
sounds pretty.
Park City sounds like a weird name for.
I feel like I couldn't help myself but ask people, why not just call it City
Oh
Park?
shit! It is really pretty. It's like a small town, like small town, in the middle of like a set of mountains.
Nice. I like that.
Holy hell! But go on.
Gazing only has three rules that are actually quite outspoken. You only have a few hours to watch and wait for something exciting. You cannot leave any sort of evidence of your presence. You can never go back to the place you've already been. Gazing is a short lived hobby, and it's well understood that anyone who breaks these rules or goes homeless trying to find new places to watch winds up jumping down the rabbit hole of getting caught. I never did. Not until last night. My idea was genius. Usually I went up into the lower hills of the outcrops around Salt Lake City itself, but it was a hard trip. Anytime you gaze, it usually means an overnight trip to a specific neighborhood. That means that you either needed a car with nothing discernible about it, or rely on public transportation, which I often did. But a trip to City Park, but a trip to Park City, hell, I
I
should
keep
drive
doing the
up there
same
myself
thing.
and make it nice. Staycation out of it. Spending a week in a nice hotel with 3 of the 7 days dedicated to a long trip gazing down the mountains around town. The best part was that I had a way to make it almost too easy of an effort. The Alpine Slide.
Okay, okay. Even if it's like a cheap hotel, that's still a couple $100 that you're doing like a hotel stay.
Sounds like an
and
expensive hobby.
and and they say it's a nice hotel. So if it's like a Sheraton, let's say, or like what's another one, like a Hilton or something, that's $200 a night. You're doing a over a grand for your hobby like this.
And they just admitted that they got in trouble. No, we.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. It's just like there's just part of me that skepticism. Like, all right, dude, Right. This totally happened. I wish I had over a
Yeah.
grand this just do a casual week hotel stay for my hobby of VTubing.
Thank you for the stretch and
Hey,
hydrate.
to be fair, son, your PC that cost over a grand, it's, technically hobby, things like that. This is just for a hotel stay. This is not doing their food or anything else, transportation. Just for the hotel stay, I'm like, okay, my guy.
See, if it comes to a staycation in a hotel, is that technically you're not paying for any amenities like outside of being there? Like you're bringing everything with you, or
Oh, thank you, Ren, for the hydrant project. See, that's what I'm also wondering. I mean, my PC also cost over a grand, but I did like payments, installments.
yeah. See, maybe add gazing has four rules now. You need a fat wallet because holy crap.
Jeez. Oh God. I mean that one thing I always joke is like I'm a oh, a staycation is staying in a hotel in your local area, so it's like a vacation, but you'll stay somewhere. Okay, okay, I get it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But it's like being like I'm a Warhammer 40K fan, and like just to get some models is like you're spending like 50-60 bucks, and that's like not counting paint or anything like that. And it's like if you don't use them for like the actual like tabletop, it's like you're spending like over 100 bucks just to collect them. Like, you know what? You do need a big wallet for 40K. So are we? It's so that's something we're gonna have to do. We're gonna do for fun, right? For just a single days, do a staycation in one of each other's towns.
Sure, why not?
Me, you, Cycle will stay at like a hotel a week right down from the road from you.
Just
Your
waltz over there. Hey,
your your
it's
your
me
parents are
again.
like what are you doing? You're just like camping.
Duh. I don't ask about your hobbies. Don't ask about mine. Just aggressively zips up my zipper.
I'm just imagining now you just have a tent in like the living room. I actually did as a kid once. Um, Me and my brother begged to go camping, but my father's like, your guys are too young. You're like little kids. So he set up a tent into the living room. He's like, we're gonna stay here for the night, and we were so thrilled by it because we were like staying in the tent.
Oh, that's sweet that he put that together for you
Yeah.
guys, though.
Our mother was not pleased because she had worked as a nurse, so she was like overnight like type of job, and she like tripped over like one of the, like stake wires. So we all got a scolding for it, but we were like, we're camping, no girls allowed, which led to more scolding.
Oh,
But go on.
okay. But I had a way to make it almost too easy of an effort. The Alpine slides. Basically, big, long concrete slides that wind down the mountain. Renting the wheeled cart needed to use the slides was relatively expensive. Oh my god, more money. But I need but I didn't need that. Just the ticket up the chairlift. After a day of enjoying a nice hotel and some pretty fun local bars, followed by a day of using the pool, hot tub, and an arcade down the road, I parked my car at the end of a certain neighborhood, and took a bus back to the Alpine slides.
So
I planned it so that
is it like a ski or like snowboarding like lift?
lift, maybe, yeah, like to
I
get up there to actually like use the slide.
Yeah, like I don't like I'm trying to just like I'm like I don't know if it's like a certain thing in that town. Like I'm trying to understand like the wheeled cart to use the slides. Like it sounds like a chairlift.
I think to get up there, yeah, to like actually use the slide in the first place. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any like snow involved.
sorry, it just confused me for a bit. I was like, I was trying to like wrap my head around. I'm like, okay, they're going towards a ski resort now.
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
Okay, I'm reading forward to the next like little tiny paragraph. Okay, so it is like a ski lift.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
You can go ahead, or do you want me to take
Okay.
over?
I'll finish up this one. A pundit said that I took the last ride up to the highest slide. What I thought would be the most dangerous gamble of the night was jumping off of a chairlift and dashing into the forest, lugging my packed stuff and slapdash camping essentials.
Ooh. Can you imagine if you were like on the like second to last, like you're just like it, like you know, can you imagine like being someone after him, you just see a guy jump off the chairlift, just run into the woods?
My thing is, how would you not know? Like, you're okay, you're the last person, and then like they go up there. Where did that last person go? Like,
Yeah,
somebody's not asking enough questions. But I digress.
my insides were in tight knots, but I managed to make the jump while the chairlift was near the ground. I got up and ran up out and checked if anyone had seen me. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, this is why one of the things I do enjoy, like, the Creepcast pour is like they point out the flawed logic in like some creepy pastas because it's like yeah, some of them are very scary, but then you take a second longer to like read, and you're like, this makes no fucking sense. Um, God, I think one we should read eventually that could be a whole stream on itself is the NES Godzilla game.
Ooh.
It's probably one of the best like creepypastas. It's like a 9 chapter thing, and they made like 100. So it's based off the NES Godzilla game, but they made like hundreds of like edit images of like different monsters and stages and things like that. They added to the story, and
Mm.
there's parts in the story where it's like it makes no sense. Like it would goes like, okay, haunted game, angels, dead spirits, and it's like we just took a weird U-turn here.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. Sounds pretty cool.
I dove side into the bushes near the trees and stayed still. I haven't seen any cameras on the chairlifts, but I made a bet that if there were any, they weren't being watched particularly closely. I waited in the bushes for an entire hour, occasionally crawling east towards the neighborhood that I had spotted on Google Maps. It was a long, winding neighborhood marked with big houses, and this how we know the people that owned them were loaded. Massive driveways. Best of all, the mountain seemed to slope in just a way that I could comfortably and constantly walk downhill the thick forest surrounding the houses, comfortably listening to music while I gazed. The sound of an engine came up the hill. I looked back, making sure not to move my body too quickly. A group of security guards rode on ATVs up the hill towards the slide I just bailed from. I got on high enough to see where the chairlifts I bet ended up. A large concrete platform with a slide stretching down towards the opposite side of the mountain. A few employees, I think, of the hotel the slides were owned by stood waiting for the security cars. Still moving slowly, I pulled out my binoculars and watched them. My entire body clenched when the group turned toward the forest I was hiding in. Eventually, one of the employees shook their heads and said something that made the rest laugh. Security guards went back down the mountain. The hotel employees got to reap a pretty good benefit of their job, getting the slide down after every shift to clock out and go home. Shivering slightly, I put my binoculars back into my pocket and risked standing up. I crawled far enough into the trees to not be noticed, but at least I had hope. This part of the journey, hiking a few miles towards the neighborhood, was the riskiest part. Getting caught by the hotel would be bad. Getting caught near a public road that could claim I was in the middle of jogging got me out of felony territory and towards a petty misdemeanor.
Oof.
But goddamn was a beautiful walk. Squirrels and birds seemed to be everywhere, and the scent of alpine, a unique blend of fir trees, pines, and sagebrush, was intoxicating. Even if I didn't see anything exciting when I gazed, this renegade hike for the mountains was more than enough thrill to make the trip worth it. A few hours later, I ran a certain hill and I was finally at my destination. It was pretty much a huge pit that had large houses with even larger yards winding down through forests that were almost overtaking my civilization. Meticulously sculpted pavements snaked down towards the west side of what I call the pit, Every quarter of a mile, a 3, occasionally 4-story house split off from the roads. It could have been a nightmare to navigate if there wasn't a consistent pattern in the leftmost neighborhood. A clear path of forest that would cover me while being directly across from many of the houses that wound in the pit. At the very end, I double-checked this just to be safe, was a gate that led back out into the public park near Park City proper. A car was parked at the edge of said park. My binoculars came back out from the pocket. The sun was still setting. There was a stretch of hill that I needed to walk down and start on my path down the pit. Meantime, I thought I'd get some permanently gazing out of the way. There was only one house that had lights on that I could see from the top of the pit. I say house, but it was really a mansion, hosting a party that filled the entire yard with a large pool, hot tub, a basketball court, and even 2 batting cages that took up a football field-sized section of land. People all shapes, sizes, and colors mingled, ate food, and enjoyed the amenities. Nothing crazy or wild enough to warrant writing down at the time happened, but it was fun watching people have fun. As the sun really started to set, the partiers began moving inside. I watched I go in, trying to see what was going on in the mansion, but it was much too far away and elevated to get a good look. I wonder if they were going to break out the crack, Molly, and condoms after they went inside.
Oh shit.
I caught sight of a little girl in my binoculars following her parents inside, and I hope to God the 3 things were a part of the party. I chuckled a bit, although I really did hope the people up there weren't that fucked. Drank some water and took one last look at the mansion. The little girl was standing just outside the wide mansion doors, looking towards me. Not at me, but way too damn close for comfort. There's an excellent science and learning-based channel on YouTube that I keep up with. One of their episodes have been about horror and paranoia. I bring it up because I remembered, when I was looking for those binoculars, that there was a popular theory that you knew when you were being looked at due to specific rays of light that can emit from someone's eyes when they look at you. It was the only way I could explain my certainty that the girl was looking right at me. She wasn't, or at least I really don't think she was. The other thing that happened, I'm not sure, but I do know that the alarm went off in my head that something was looking at me. If it even wasn't the little girl looking towards the hills where I was hiding. The girl turned away, took a sip from the pouch of juice she was carrying, and walked into the mansion that now flooded with life and light. She closed the door behind her, and that watch feeling finally went away. Ooh. I'm already getting it. I'm getting that bad feeling that something's gonna, kick off soon,
Yeah.
I felt cold the first time since picking up the hobby, doubt. Taking much to struggle with that doubt, but I wrote what I seen down. The other guys and plenty of gals, believe it or not, and the hobby would get a kick out of that creep factor. But the sun had finally finished setting, and true darkness was in the pit. All the houses were lit up, and from where it looked like a huge diorama of rich, tiny plastic neighborhoods and farts. I took in the sights one more time before I took my night vision goggles out of my backpack, started climbing towards the snaking path of forest that led to the opening in the pit that led out to my car. It took a half an hour of walking to reach the first house, or rather its backyard. People were much less likely to give their backyard surroundings anything mind, even with drapes through the window. Like I said, that was in a really populated area. Walking through a thick forest with night vision goggles and a backpack full of food and wilderness survival equipment wasn't hard. What was hard was making sure I moved quietly. There are a few tricks to that, but I'm not sharing them. Despite how I typed up to this point, I'm just going to tell you with my whole heart to not go gazing. At all. Besides the obvious moral reasons, what Reddit posts and blogs won't tell you is how often someone gets shot while even trespassing. Never
Oof.
mind being put on a registry depending on who's living in the house when you eventually get caught.
Ooh.
True. So what this guy is telling is like, yeah, I'm doing something very, very illegal.
I'm doing it for you so you don't do it.
Right?
Like, okay, what?
But I won't lie to you, I didn't have that mindset until after I reached my car. Bloody, bruised, and exhausted the following morning.
Ooh.
When I approached the big white backyard, the first home on my trail, I was there to see what I could glimpse. Night vision goggles came off, I sat comfortably against the hill and I gazed. Nothing overly suspicious or noteworthy about the backyard. So I relaxed just enough to gaze at what seemed like the wildest party I've ever seen. The backyard wasn't that large, but it was full of games, food, and drinks everywhere. There was room. Pool tables, ping pong tables, and an inflatable sports area bouncy house. People were drinking, chatting, having an absolute blast. The house was a huge angular glass box marked with marble and granite, with a gigantic wooden patio where even more people were sipping drinks and having fun talking to each other. I don't go to a lot of parties, but this would have been the exception. The thing that seemed really odd was the second story of the house. Smoking-colored lights filled the air, and unclothed, sweaty people were floating, undulating like the heavy wisp of smoke and incense that surrounded them.
Okay.
I'm looking at the unclothed part, like,
Interesting.
The entire site gave me an excited launch feeling. People were walking out of the house greeting people they haven't seen before constantly, and with drinks or food. Felt an urge to sneak in and mingle, take advantage of the situation, have some fun. Probably going to be my last gazing trip anyway. There were a few people on the edge of the lawn nearest to me that were wearing the kind of clothes I had on. I probably could have done it. Slowly I slipped my night vision goggles back on and turned away from the party. I had a few urges as I made my way around trees, leaves, and brushes to go out. Lord knew that I wanted a reason to cut loose. Honestly, I still couldn't give you the exact reason why I ignored the party, other than I was just too scared to even be a little risky than I already had been. A quarter mile down the forest, I saw a small and cheap-looking apartment building made with red brick. 4 wide obscured windows were evenly spaced along its back side, though I couldn't see his door coming out from the small concrete patio or from the sides of the building. I settled down, sat against the hill, and gazed. A few minutes of twiddling my thumbs listening to music, the light came on from the top left window. I shaped moved for the room, approached the window, and then pulled it open. It was a blonde woman in jeans and a t-shirt. As she slid the window open, she frowned and leaned out towards the backyard. Hey you, she whispered so loud that she might as well have yelled. I stopped breathing. Hey, come on, I know you're out there. And my breathing came back, blowing enough to keep me conscious. My heartbeat was a heavy pulse that I felt throughout my entire body. Panic was only held back by the fact that she wasn't looking directly at me. Rather, she was looking at her all around the forest. She didn't know where I was, but she knew I was there. Come on, please, she whispered, yelling, motioning towards the house. We don't get hikers up here very often. Please tell me which trail you're heading towards. I didn't say anything, didn't even blink. She tracked me on the mountain. Maybe I set off some sort of alarm, even though I've been keeping an eye out. I'm going to call the cops if you don't show yourself. I almost broke. I was born with a silver tongue. But I figured that if I had to, I could have passed off as a hiker. Looking back, I probably would have. But even more, I didn't learn this about being spotted. There was an odd twist to get my gut that I felt when I looked at the woman continuing to whisper, and at that one point, even start one side conversation trying to get me to reply. At the time, only one thing felt really off to her. Her room, or the room she was standing in at least, was completely empty. The walls were cracked and yellow, both from the old paint and the dim used bulb that hung naked from a single plug in the ceiling. A string hung down from it. There was no light switch near the door. The light had come on before I saw any movement in the room. Very, very slowly, I started moving my way down the forest. The light in the room wasn't nearly strong enough to reach where I was, but I played as safe as I could. She continued to whisper until I was almost out of earshot. It's only the few times from that night that I don't really remember. But I could swear that after a certain distance, she stopped talking entirely. Just when she went quiet, the light went off.
This is getting freaky.
Yeah. Keeping my hands and legs from shaking was almost impossible. The only way I kept together was a simple fact. If I was being tracked or had been spotted, I needed to keep an eye out for anything that would give that, or me away. It felt like hours before I saw the next backyard. It must have been taking me 15 or 20 minutes. Like something shot in my eyes so brightly that I yanked my night vision goggles and stared at the ground. All I could see was a pulsing red and light. Freeze, I heard a man shout from where I had seen the house. Put your hands up if I could see them. The red and light flashing my lights became tinted with blue as my lights came on. Full lights and police cruiser lights spinning on top of cars marked Park City's Sheriff Department. I don't know what happened if I surrendered. My gut tells me I've only been breathing, as I typed this because I happened to be behind a large tree when the lights had come on. Two things I heard the captain shouts I heard was, "Get up from the ground, and we will open fire." When I've been arrested, the only experience I had with cops was watching the titular show when I was younger and clips on the internet. But even my panicked state of mind knew that cops didn't immediately threaten to shoot trespassers for trespassing. Get from up the ground, I was standing straight up behind a tree. I ignored all my instincts and waited. The cops continued to shout, warning me that they were going to open fire if I didn't come out with my hands up. The longer I waited, the more scared I became. Not because the voices were getting louder or closer, but that they stayed the same. Being considerate, I must have stood behind that tree for at least half an hour. Yet no shots rang out, no noise of foliage being pushed aside as the cops approached me or fanned out to look for me. The shouting continued, the floodlights and police lights blurring together in air, making an odd mixing of soaring colors into the trees. What got me moving after another 15 minutes of boredom, if I'm being honest, not real boredom, I think my heart rate or breathing got even slower when I was expecting to get shot, but I realized that whatever was happening was going to stop. So I tried sneaking forward, low to the ground in the shadow of the tree I'd been hiding. Barely made out 5 feet when one of the floodlights swung directly towards me. There he is! Fire!
Holy shit!
I ran slow and cumbersomely because of my backpack, but still as fast as I could. Sharp loud cracks came from the direction of the yard. Police kept yelling, telling me to duck, freeze, to get the fuck down, and come back. I kept running. Lights were doing one thing in my favor. Let me see what was ahead of me. I had no cohesive thoughts at the time. Just needed to go downhill as fast as I could. Any moment I could get a lucky hit it. Only I realized that why I wasn't shot. I couldn't have been shot, at least not by any self-respecting cop that ever held a gun before. If the target as large and slow as I was, it would have been harder to miss me than not. Like I said, I didn't think about it at the time. I didn't have any thoughts. Just a head full of adrenaline that was doing its best to ignore the pain in my arms and legs from the running and praying that I would get to see the next sunrise. Oh, I didn't realize I got raided.
We were enthralled
Yeah.
by that story.
Hello, Bay. You're back. Streaming again?
Hooray, raid!
They were just shouting. Oh, so we are. We are doing some horror stories. We're actually in the middle of one that is. Okay, so do we think the cops are real? Real quick.
Yes,
Okay,
I think they are.
I think they're not.
A rebuttal. May I ask why?
The way he's putting it, like they didn't chase him. Like he's saying he's like I'm big and slow, right? I'm like, well, a cop would get chased because the guy doesn't have a gun or a weapon, right?
Right.
So like, they're just gonna let him run or go. Like, I don't know. Something feels weird. We're almost near the end of the story, but something does feel weird.
No, that does kind of feel weird. Like, why if they're gonna stake out for that long, and then when he finally runs, like, why wouldn't you run after him? Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
could, yeah, okay, I could get it now.
And this is like literally the next line. They didn't chase me. I kept running, long past the reach of any lights until I ran face first near a birch tree. My vision was blurry as I fell to the ground, rolling down a hill until I came to a sudden stop against another tree that caught me right in the abdomen. Where I lifted my
Oof.
lungs was knocked out. The very painful force rushed on my ground. My breath came back to me. I hurt, and so did my nose that wasn't broken but ran with blood. I managed to claw my way to a standing position next to the tree that had both saved me and given me a huge bruise on my midsection. If I hadn't, the odds were more than likely that I had broken something farther on the hill. The only thing I broken was one of my night vision goggles lenses. I was grateful that I had that much. In the compass that pointed directly towards the pit's exit was all I needed to run in a straight line as fast as I could get the hell out of there. My days gazing were over, to say the least. One step down the hill started to rain. Despite the urgency I felt in every end of my body, looked towards the sky confused. There hadn't been any clouds before, there were any now. Stars alone shone bright, even if I had been muted from nearby these lights' pollution. I could actually see where the rain was coming from, but I swear it was there. As far much creepier detail that I thought about ways down the hill was that the rain was falling everywhere, including under canopies of leaves that ran naturally down to leave the trunks of trees dry. I ignored it. Actually, the smell of ozone and forest rain calmed me down a little. It was much compared to the growing stain on my body and my clothes getting soaked and really uncomfortable, but it was something. There was one more house than my straight shot to the pit's exit, even after my straight run through the forest. I ignored the light from the backyard and steered into my eyes. Since I was so close to the exit back to Park City, my night vision goggles went back into my pocket. Fortunately, the hill rose and split in ways where the much quicker route wound toward the house's backyard. I saw as I got closer was lit with a little firelight. There were people there, at least a dozen. Each of which was tied up X-shaped St. Andrew's crosses. Could that more were confetti streamers. The torches blazing, even the rain spread across the yard, only lit up the bodies and the crosses enough for me to get the barest look. Half around the hill that I knew would let me out into the street next to the pit's exit, I realized that it was the streamers that connected all the crosses. Streamers were pink and fleshy with a tubular shape. I could finally see that the streamers were coming from and tied between each of the bodies.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We ran into hell. I don't think anything's real. We're in hell.
Before I could scream or likely puke my guts out, I heard a sharp whisper next to me from the right side of the yard. The cross close to the edge of the yard had a living person on it, a girl with one streamer already cut and tied to another cross behind her. Two kids teenagers were trying to pull an iron stake out of one of the girl's feet. Hey, you one that whispered directly at me. Please come help us. We're so close. Please, the other whispered, eyes darting between me and her friend as she sobbed. Please help. The edge of the yard was only a few steps away. The house, a large temple-looking one that was made of massive logs and full of windows, were completely dark. I took a few steps forward. I was not really sure if I was going to help or not, and tripped. While face forward, I reached towards the ground with all my might and dug my fingers into the hard dirt. My nails ripped off by a slow crawl mere inches from the edge of the yard. I bent down to cover my jacket to keep from screaming. When I looked up, the kids were both staring at me with a hunger and anticipation that was so powerful they were smiling, holding their breaths as they watched my hand so near the border between the yard and forest. Eagerness I haven't seen before or since. The girl tied up the cross looked the same way, only she was smiling ear to ear. Her eyes almost glowing in the firelight, she looked at me. I scrambled backwards up the hill and ran again, this time not even borrowing with night vision goggles. I ran some more. Rain and tree branches scraped at my hands and face as I stumbled through the forest. Eventually I sped out into a black paved street. Ahead me with only one light to see it by was a concrete guard post next to an iron gate that passed for the lowest edge of the pit. I made it. Next to the gate on a grassy hill that sloped down from a mansion I could barely see even with the night vision goggles was my car. Same color, license plate, everything. There was no doubt this was my car. Confused, shaky steps towards it and stopped in the middle of the street. I pulled my keys out of my pocket and hit the lock button. Far to my right, past the iron gate, there was a distant honk as my car signaled that it had been locked. Nice try, I wheezed softly, not even hearing myself.
What?
Looking back towards the pit, where it now towered in front of me, I couldn't see anything of what I passed before, except for a house on the opposite side where I climbed down from. Lights were flashing from the inside, red lights that looked like flames. Binoculars didn't come out of the backpack. I was much too tired and scared, if I'm being honest, to even do that. But I could swear that the girl I seen at the party through those same binoculars at the top of the pit. The one that was last entered the only normal house I've seen throughout the night was there, watching me. I climbed over the iron gate, found my real car, got the hell out there. I've been up to Park City since, nor do I intend to set foot near the place. All I did was double check the Google image of the pit. I want to see that none of the houses I've seen matches houses that were on the satellite images. Beyond that, my gazing days are done. My story is far from the only strange one that you get from talking to homeless people or vagabonds on what they see and come out of voyeurism. But nobody would believe my story, so I'm posting it here. Don't go gazing near Park City, or better yet, don't go gazing at all.
Oh my god, that's fucking crazy.
Okay, the twist was definitely not what we expected. It was.
We weren't even close.
Yeah. Like, oh, it's just gonna be a murder. No, it was much more than that.
It was worse, actually. It was far worse. That's crazy. Wow. Just wow.
I do think that is our last story for tonight, though.
Yeah, what a banger to end on. That was crazy.
Wow. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a stargazing. Did anyone make out? No. Well, I guess technically, the one mansion. Look
Oh,
more.
yeah.
God, it was a haunted, or it was like a hell story. It was interesting. That was definitely fun.
I think I was just a bit confused at the end with the nice try and before I went to
Oh,
go find my real car.
so he was about to go over. He was going to climb over the gate, and so he hit He hit his button. So the car he thought was his didn't go off. It was a different car farther down. So I guess it was like the whole haunted place was trying to get him to go into the wrong car.
That's scary. I'd fold. I'd get in because I would be like, I don't want to get that fuck
Yeah. Also, like I get coincidences are a thing, but that one where like they were trying like I guess the teenagers were trying to free their friend. I'd be like, yeah, I just so happen to find you guys here at the same time. Yeah, no fucking way.
Yeah, that'll do. It's like, great, I'm scared now. What do you want me to do?
That was very interesting though. I did not expect that ending for it.
I didn't either. That was a good one. That was good. These were some good stories, full of twists I didn't see coming.
And the thing is like we had a lot of links for tonight. There's quite a few folklore and like creepypastas that we didn't do tonight. I might save this for another episode. Just delete the ones that we did and just keep those ones like ready for next time.
Yeah, maybe eventually go down the line to a Back in the Woods part 2.
Yep. We didn't have enough. Back to the Woods Bugaloo.
That was good though.
I am gonna get my raid going.
Where you heading? I'll go with you.
Astra Logical VT, a fellow Benopolis member.
Ooh,
Ten-
cool.
Technically.
I'll take the technicality.
They technically stepped away, even though they're still the leader. Oh, do you want me to put the name in your chat or?
I had went into yours and got it.
Oh,
Don't worry,
awesome.
thanks though.